Hello, folks.
Hello.
Welcome to Hank and Darla's Paranormal Roundtable. And usually we talk about hauntings, mean, nasty things. But tonight we're going to go in a little different direction. Brought a special guest on, DJ. And what I'm concerned with, I've been to a lot of people's homes talking about hauntings, ghosts, things that go bump in the night. And I've realized that sometimes little children are listening. And I try to tone it down a little because I don't think it's good for them to be hearing some really hairy stuff. So that's why I asked DJ to come in and tell us a little bit about yourself, and we're going to ask you a few questions as far as children are concerned. First, this is part of the routine. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oosha. All right. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. What you've been doing.
So I've been a preschool teacher for 24 years now. And in those years, I've seen a lot of different things happen with growth. Children are much more knowledgeable now than they used to be. And so, yeah.
Knowing my grandson, that's a true statement. So let's get down to, how do children rationalize ghosts? Do they look at them different than we do? What are they thinking every time they hear ghosts? They're going to look under the bed, or are they going to? I mean, does it freak them out? I know when I was a kid, and I remember when you were a kid, it used to scare the hell out of me. Just hearing people talk about ghosts and hauntings and demons. What do you think?
So I think children hear more than we think they hear. I think we talk and their little ears are picking up on what is being said, even though when we don't think they're listening. Children under the age of 7 do not understand reality versus fiction. They're
So what they hear,
fantasy.
it's real to them.
Yes.
Monsters.
It's really real to them. Yeah, it's really real. So, fantasy versus reality under 7, that's where they have a harder time deciphering, is that monster really real? Is that ghost really real? I do believe children are more sensitive to paranormal activity. I do believe that children do see ghosts more than we think they do. If there is a haunting, just like an animal, they have more of a sixth sense. Because as we grow up, we tune that out. We usually turn that off.
The world conditions us
Exactly.
to think one way.
Exactly.
Children are open to everything.
Yes. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think that children also believe that if the adults believe it, then they think it must be real.
Yeah.
If the adults are, because they look up to us and what we're doing. So
True.
It's how we handle the situation.
if we freak out, they're going to freak out.
Exactly. Right.
So it'd probably be best not to discuss.
Well, I think it depends on how you discuss it. I think if you want to discuss it and a child is present, I think it's all in how you handle it. If you say, hey, I think grandma came back to visit me the other day. See if the child says anything. I don't think it's going to hurt them. I think if we try not to talk about stuff, that makes them more curious. But if we talk about it with them, we sit and we listen to them and we acknowledge them and we hear what they say, I think that makes them feel more secure.
Then we don't want to say, I saw Grandma and she was covered with this ectoplasm. And
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we don't want to say that. You know, you could just say, did you see, you know, you could say, hey, I'm wondering, have you seen Grandma? Or, you know, I heard that Grandma may have made a presence here. Did you see her? Tell me, what did she look like? Describe her to me.
So make them feel comfortable. I mean, you don't want to talk to your kids about ghosts every day.
No.
But if it does come up, you need to...
Exactly, you need to acknowledge
Make it a positive thing.
Yes.
Make it the reason that they're seeing it a good thing, not
Right.
bad.
Right.
You had a question for DJ.
I did, but I think it was covered.
Okay. What about horror movies?
Horror movies. Well, you know, there's been some research on that, and they say that horror movies are okay to a degree, but it depends on what the horror movie is. You need to really look at the parental guidance and what it says. So should a child be under 7 be watching a rated R movie? Probably not right now, because it's more than they can handle. Also, children need to watch more under 7 and up, maybe to 10, need to watch more animation, because that shows them that that's a fantasy and not a reality. And characters, so if a child is watching a movie and the character solves his conflicts with violence all the time, under a young child, is that appropriate? It depends on the parental guidance. Some parents are okay with that, though, and some aren't.
It might give them the idea that violence is the answer.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
What about video games? Same thing?
Video games would be the same thing, but I would say video games need to be more cautious with video games, because when video games are on all the time, screen time is what we call it. Screen time is great to a degree, but too much screen time, what is it doing to that child developmentally?
Makes sense.
So that's when they say when children go to bed, you're supposed to not have them have the screen time up to a certain amount of time before bedtime, so their brains can
about an hour
shut down before they sleep.
Right.
Because, you know, that was always my issue, was trying to figure out why my son couldn't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm thinking, and then you had, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I had gotten your advice before, and you had said, well, try turning off the phone or turning off his TV. Don't let him play games right before bed. So,
yeah,
it's true.
Now, I think The Last of Us 1 and 2 is probably appropriate for anybody. Okay?
Huh?
Just saying. The Last of Us is a video game.
Oh!
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
Topic.
That's good to know. I've heard parents say, well, we're with the children when they're watching a movie.
But you're not processing what they're thinking.
Right.
The children are seeing it completely different than we are.
And so so can we give a website that parents can go to?
Certainly.
So one I found that I thought had a lot of great stuff on it. It's called commonsensemedia.org. If you have questions, it does answer things about children and ages and what's appropriate.
commonsensemedia.org.
And I'll put that in the comments in the comment section of our video, so you guys can see that.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that helped you, folks.
If you have any advice, you know, if you have kids that you have some questions about, you know, maybe something's going on with you and, you know, you want some more advice, reach out to us, and we can always reach out to DJ and, you know, ask her, and she'll answer your questions for you, give her best advice.
For sure.
So.
One more thing before we go. I am giving away this fairy in a jar. It's kind of cool looking, isn't it? She's kind of wicked looking.
I wouldn't take her out.
No, don't take her out. But I'm going to give her away for the best ghost story. And we're going to stop the stories February the 20th. So send us some stories. We'll read them on the air. Whoever we think is the best is going to win that fairy in a jar. It's pretty scary, folks. So please hit the subscribe button. It's very important. Hit the like. Glad you tuned in tonight. Be watching for our next video. And you never know what you're going to see on Hank and Darla's Paranormal Roundtable. It'd be things like this, informative. I think that's what we need today. We all need help. So I think the best way to do it is for things like ours, people who know what they're talking about, like DJs. And we can all, like I said before, we're a big family. All right? So stay in tune, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, DJ.
Thank you.